Are you eating to live? Or are you eating to escape a feeling that you're afraid of confronting? It's the night after Thanksgiving for the Americans watching, or for anyone else watching, is a night after purging your fridge and cabinets for anything calorically dense. And as you look at those empty plates of food that you have went through, you finally recognize, damn, my eating habits are actually pretty bad. And I really want to fix this. Like, how am I going to fix this? Fortunately for you, I have been in that same boat before, and I have had that same line of questioning, recognizing that my eating habits were bad. However, I found a way to get out and no longer have those eating habits, and because I did, I want to share those steps that I took that helped me so it can help you as well. Starting with step number 1, recognize/figure out where those poor eating habits came from. It could have started when you were a kid going through an extreme amount of stress and you went to food as a comfort tool. It could have started because you grew up in an environment where healthy eating wasn't a norm nor something that you saw growing up. So as a result, you picked up those unhealthy eating habits. Or maybe you were just like me and you just liked food a little too much when you were a kid and eventually went to food for pretty much any reason, especially for comfort. Knowing where your triggers come from is very important to end the cycle of overeating, because then you'll be able to figure out a strategy on how to stop that trigger from making you overeat. So I invite you not to pay closer attention to every single time you feel an urge to overeat. Think about why you're doing it, what exactly is going on in your mind, like what happened beforehand that may have caused you to want to overeat. And with these tips in mind, let's go right to step number 2 now, which is to distract the overeating mindset. Overeating often happens, in my opinion, because we haven't found a different way to relieve stress or find comfort outside of eating. So I feel like what better way to get rid of this overeating mindset than to find other ways to relieve stress or find comfort and excitement outside of eating. For example, you could pick up a hobby. Walking is a pretty fun hobby to do, or picking up that one sport you've been thinking about doing but you've been too afraid to pick up, because getting out of your comfort zone, in my opinion, will find you a new way to get comfortable in new activities that have nothing to do with overeating. If you're having a hard time figuring out which hobbies you want to do outside of walking, talking, breathing, I guess I could say, you could think about hobbies that you liked doing when you were a kid and incorporate that to your overeating mindset distraction. If you like creating paper airplanes, you could have a whole hobby where you watch videos on how to create these really intricate, cool paper airplanes, and it's cheap, it's inexpensive, all you need is a paper in your hands, so it's really cool. Or maybe you like playing with dolls or collecting dolls, so you could get back to that where you start collecting dolls or playing with dolls like Belle Delgado. I'm so sorry for butchering your name, by the way, but like Belle Delgado, who used to just record himself with whole doll stories. He could do that without recording yourself, of course, or with recording yourself, why not? And just have fun doing that. Or if you don't want to pay the price of buying dolls or really have a whole story with dolls, but you still like the idea of dolls, you could treat yourself like a doll and use your current clothing to create a whole new wardrobe for yourself, a whole new outfit style aesthetic for yourself. And that's what I do. It's really fun. I love doing it. And not only will you no longer really overeat because you're so fixed on those hobbies, your responsibilities and all that stuff, so you'll be more focused on eating to live more than eating for comfort and all that other stuff, but also you'll have something to talk about during Christmas. Because wouldn't it be kind of cool to be look at this cool airplane, it looks like a fighter jet. You know what I mean? And if you still want to incorporate food into your hobby, I feel like the best way to do that is to ask ChatGPT, based on all the ingredients that you have, all the food products that you have, to create a healthy, filling meal. And you'd be surprised how many times that has helped me a lot with creating actual filling, healthy meals. So then not only will you have something to talk about during Christmas, you'll have food to bring during Christmas that people might like, the people that you bring it to might actually like. I think that's pretty much a win. And funny enough, also leads to my next step on how to no longer have that overeating mindset, which is by figuring out a way to have a more healthier eating habits. Now that you have found a distraction for your overeating mindset, I feel like now is the perfect time to pick up a healthier eating habit. So, if you want to pick a specific diet that heavy on unless some health concern happens, that you can stick to for the rest of your life, then go right ahead. But if you're like me and can't stand restrictive eating / dieting for the life of them, especially for the rest of their life, then I recommend that you decide to pick up intuitive eating. So for those of you who don't know what intuitive eating is about trusting your body to make food choices that feel good for you without judging yourself or the influence of diet culture. So how I use intuitive eating is if I feel hungry, then I eat. I eat whatever I want. Except for breakfast. For breakfast, I'm a little bit more like choosy, picky. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a healthier like breakfast. I don't want to start my day bad. So I might like have like a small little breakfast or a huge one, but like it's relatively healthy. But throughout the rest of the day, I'm just eating whatever because I can just eat whatever, except for right before I go to bed and I try to eat healthy again because I don't want to sleep feeling groggy. And sometimes I like to eat candy, but if I feel a sugar rush, like feel like, okay, my body's like starting to like really freak out from all this sugar, I lay low on sugar for like a few hours, maybe a few days, depending on how much that sugar rush really impacted me. Same thing for caffeine, which is why I just avoid caffeine like it's the plague. But I don't mind drinking caffeine, just not too much because, bro, like, did you know that if you drink caffeine, it stays in your system for 8 hours? I'd rather go to bed at a reasonable time whenever I want without any caffeine in my system. So yes, I am saying that you can eat that sugary sweet. You can eat that carby meal. You can drink that Monster. However, I highly recommend either limiting the amount of times you do eat that throughout the week or finding a healthier alternative. For example, I love cookies. I love cookies down. But what I do to find a healthier alternative is I go either to a farmer's market or a bakery where I know damn well I'm more likely that they were using organic products or just like very few ingredients. So I know, okay, I could eat this cookie and I'm like chill. Compared to store-bought cookies where it's like, especially in the US, just a bunch of nonsense. So yeah, I'm not asking you to throw away those cookies that you have in your pantry already, or really throw away any foods that you currently have or that are deemed unhealthy. What I'm asking is, if you can't limit yourself, please do limit it. Or if you are gonna throw it away, find a healthier alternative because I highly recommend that. And to add on what I said earlier about using chat, you can also use chat just to generate healthier recipes, or Google it, or highly recommend searching on like TikTok or Instagram Shorts, something like some sort of short film content, or YouTube channels where they have like recipes for healthier alternatives for the foods that you love. Like, oh my god, it just be tasting amazing, and you'll finally find something that's your personal taste, 2, healthy as heck, and 3, filling. So the likelihood of you overeating is lower because you're already eating such a filling meal. I think that's a win, honestly. So in general, intuitive eating can really help you build a healthier and happier relationship with your body because you finally be able to understand your body's signals and cues so that you aren't fighting with your triggers. You're like, okay, I do feel like having a sweet, so right now I'm gonna have like some fruit bowl, strawberries, a cookie from the farmer's market, or maybe that store-bought cookie, but just I won't eat too much. And if I eat like 1 or 2 cookies and I'm still hungry, I'll just eat a filling meal instead, and instead of like eating like an entire row of cookies, because it's not gonna make you full. It'll just make you sluggish and make you feel bad about yourself. As someone's been through that, it will just make you feel like poop. I would also like to add that it is completely fine if you mess up the first time while incorporating intuitive eating, or whatever you believe is a mess up. Whether it's you eating an entire bag of candies, eating that entire row of cookies, it doesn't matter, because progress is not linear. Sometimes you'll have your up and downs, and it took me like about 1 to 2 years till eventually I could confidently say that I do follow intuitive eating relatively well. Of course, I still have my mess ups here and there even today, but I don't let that discourage me to keep going and still eat a healthy like meals and still eat healthy. Like, don't ever be the type where it's like, okay, I messed up this one time, I have to mess up the rest of the way through. Like, no, you messed up one time. It's completely fine. Just keep going, bro. You got this. Keep going, because you guys are stars. So I call you stars. You got this. Keep going through that intuitive eating route, like, or that diet, even with that diet as well. If you mess up that one time, there's still that the next day, the next meal. There's no reason to throw away your entire progress over one mistake. So now let's head to the conclusion. In conclusion, all of us, including myself, have dealt with some level of stress, some level of boredom, and or some level of an over-enjoyment of consuming food that has caused us to fall into an overeating mindset. And luckily for us, we no longer have to fall into that mindset any longer. We picked up that new hobby that we've been scared to try or we've always wanted to try. We picked up that diet that we always wanted to do because we felt like we could really stick to it. And if that didn't work or we just never wanted to fall into a diet, we started doing intuitive eating, where we still are able to enjoy those sweets, those treats, and everything super neat without any guilt or shame because we found a way to still limit ourselves to enjoy that, but the same breath eat relatively healthy. By doing this has helped us to not only stop overeating, but it's also helped us to enjoy life outside of the excessive thought of food because we're preoccupied by so many other exciting things in our life, which I believe is a win for all of us. All we had to do was to understand what our triggers were and take the steps necessary to ensure that we never fall into that mindset again. So if you enjoyed my advice that I gave, like, comment, and subscribe. You've watched all the way this far, you might as well just subscribe, bro. Like, it's one click, I'm gonna be up a little bit more often, like, I think you should do it. I think that'd be an amazing idea. And enjoy no longer falling into that overeating mindset. Bye. Including myself, who is sharing that how it has helped me to help you as well. I'm so deleting that part.